Hello and welcome to Best Sips Worldwide. I'm your drinking companion, Susan Schwartz, an American travel writer living in London. Thanks to my mother's love of martinis, the first words I spoke were shaken, not stirred, and I've been obsessed by the history of cocktails ever since. Through the years, I've been lucky enough to sip some of the best made by the best. Hear that sound? It's time to cozy up to the bar and let me introduce you to the movers and shakers of the world's most famous watering holes. On today's program, I sit down with Ian McIntyre, head bartender of the easiest bar in London, the Big Easy, that is. Taking their inspiration from the Crescent City, the team at Nola decided there was one thing missing in London, and that was a good hurricane. They have righted that wrong. And now you don't need to go all the way to Bourbon Street to have a taste of the Old South. He graciously sat down to talk me through his Nol-ifacation.
So the actual owners was James Truffaut and his close and personal friend Dan Prizeman. They were setting up the business and they saw this. They had this space and they were kind of looking at what they could fit into it and what bar would work. And they were mulling over this for a while, like a month or so, and they were looking, and they saw they had this like balcony, they had this roofed terrace out the back, and suddenly just someone had the bright idea, like a New Orleans bar would work in here. And obviously, New Orleans being so rich in the cocktail history, it was ideal because they love the music, the food, and the drinks. So.
For those who don't know, this is on the second floor, or American, first floor English, of another bar. Was this an extra space? It's next to a theater, a tiny space. What were they thinking when they started it?
Well, it was kind of just they wanted it hidden out of the way, basically. So it's kind of away from the hustle and bustle of what Rivington Street is now, because on the weekends it can get really lively downstairs. So have this little gem cocktail bar hidden away inside what is essentially like a nightclub and music venue and comedy cafe. They also have now a completely separate business downstairs, which is another restaurant. So you have like three businesses under the one roof. They kind of all work independently of each other, but also in sync. So though we're using this space, then kind of have no say what goes on in the business. So it's quite interesting. It kind of works in the symbiosis. And especially when you get our guests coming in to Nola, not expecting this nice cocktail bar, but having to walk through this nightclub, and they're going, okay, where am I going? Where are you taking me? And then they suddenly see this little gem of a little speakeasy cocktail bar with table service. Everyone's quite nicely surprised.
Absolutely. That's when I first came. I was like, where am I going? I don't know where I'm going. And I guess that's part of the fun, because New Orleans is very much like that too. It's kind of mysterious and creepy, and it's got all those wonderful qualities that of the hidden, and the mysterious, all mixed into one. So it definitely lends itself to that.
It's quite interesting as well, because obviously I first visited New Orleans the first time 2 years ago, and this was for Tales of the Cocktail, because we were nominated for an award at this point. And
what was the award?
It was Best New International Cocktail Bar.
Okay.
And it was like walking down Bourbon Street for the first time and experiencing that, knowing how wild and crazy it is, and it's full of dive bars. And then if you just walk like 5 seconds around the corner of one of these streets, you'll find a gem cocktail bar. And we kind of saw it like that in a way, because you could come in off the street, which is the hustle and bustle of the crazy, as there's Rivington Street now, into this nice little gem. It was like just nicely tucked out the way.
So once they decided on a New Orleans theme, I guess being bartenders, all of you knew about the history of cocktail making in New Orleans. Is that how you started with your menu?
Yeah, so our actual menu, our actual menu, how the layout actually goes through. So our first page, as you open it, has like 100 years of New Orleans classic cocktails. And we actually work quite closely with the bartenders currently working in New Orleans now. So Nick Dedrick, Chris Hanna, and they have their own little page as well. So you could actually go along to New Orleans, go to these bars, and have these drinks there. So they did a lot of nods to them and a thank you. And so we're not basing our into our bespoke kind of drinks. We kind of do take inspiration from Nola. and we kind of look at the style of the classic cocktails. So mainly a lot of our drinks are stirred and quite booze heavy, but we do have like a little take on the Ramos. We come on our new menu, which is more interesting. It's kind of taking on new flavors of what was essentially was a breakfast cocktail, and like we're doing we've called it 99 Canal Street, which I think is actually the Starbucks in New Orleans, and we've done a chai flavored Ramos. Just their kind of little cheeky little hint there.
Well, back to your relationship with the New Orleans, the actual bartenders who live in New Orleans now. Did you reach out to them and say, we're doing this new bar and we'd love to have your input, or take one of your cocktails?
I think
have they been here?
So Dan, who was involved in the business, he was actually the European brand ambassador for Four Roses Bourbon. He is the European brand ambassador, sorry, and he has amazing contacts across the globe. And I think he was kind of the one who knew these people who were already based there. I think James also, because they've been to New Orleans, been to Tails a few times. They met these bartenders. It is a close, and the cocktail industry is actually quite a close knit group. Everyone kind of knows everyone in some way, or has met before, knows someone, a friend of someone. And it kind of got like that. So they got talking and say, well, hey, would you mind just putting one of your drinks forward just for the bar? And obviously, I think a lot of bartenders, they like to get recognised, and they were kind of more willing. Yes, I'd love to put a drink on your menu. And it's kind of been working like that ever since now. We kind of approach everyone every year, say, hey, have you got more drinks? And they just always end up getting loads.
And do you find that your customers, like most of them specifically, ask for those? Do they want the New Orleans-based drinks?
I think a lot
of they go for more of the martinis, Manhattans, all that?
They actually
are they here to drink those drinks?
I think they're here to drink more the New Orleans classics. I think that's what we're more known for now. The people, again, in our first year of opening, we were awarded the seal of the Sazerac.
And what is that?
And it's from the New Orleans Culinary Preservation Society, if I can spit out. And it's just
the New Orleans Cocktail Preservation Society.
Culinary.
Culinary.
Yeah. So it's like food and drink. I think they specialize in, and they have this award for people who are doing, make good Sazeracs and are doing really well, good things for New Orleans. So we were had a membership scheme set up where we were actually donating money to the bar scholarship training program.
Okay.
So bartenders who want to go for the, I don't know if you know the bar. It's basically like it's a qualification set up in New York, where bartenders go along. And it's like the lawyer bar exam.
Okay.
It's that grilling intensive, but it's all about spirits, wines.
So it's someone who's already a working bartender. Goes along kind of bar graduate school.
Yeah, it can go on and do that, and it's taking it a step further, almost like going to a sommelier like a stage and training. So
how long
really
has that been around?
I couldn't actually tell you how long it's been around. It's been for a while. We have something similar over here called the W set, but it's more specialises in wines. It has a spirit element to it, but the bar one, I believe, is really intensive.
Because it seems like, and I say this all the time in the interviews, that we are in a renaissance of cocktail making. We are so lucky, for us drinkers, those of us who like to drink complicated drinks. It's just the creativity out there is incredible. And so do you get to also, within the realm of the New Orleans-based cocktails, get to be creative here? And
we do. We're very creative. We're currently working on our new menu, and we've started playing around with more. Where we originally first opened, it was more classic style of just using spirits and liqueurs, not really playing with much. So now we're going into fat washing.
What you have to, for our listeners, what is fat washing?
So fat washing. So we have a drink on the menu, which is a peanut butter and banana old-fashioned, and we've taken peanut butter, sealed it in a backpack bag, and then we've heated it to like a temperature where the oils can then kind of absorb into the spirit. We then chill filter it, so you've got this murky, like peanut butter infused bourbon, and we take all the solids out and make it clear again.
Oh boy.
So basically you've got the flavour of peanut butter mixed with a bourbon that actually looks like a bourbon. So there's no oil or fat in there, it's just the fat's been washed through it. So it has those flavour qualities. You can do it with a lot of things. We've been doing it with doing coconut oil, washing it through, so you got coconut flavoured rum, or you can pretty much do anything these days.
And have you climbed onto the whole proto-tiki thing that
Not
your
yet.
friends and
The
others are
people,
doing?
I mean, Nick in Cane and Table.
That's from Cane and Table.
Yeah.
Place, one of my favorites.
It's all about proto-tiki. I don't really get the grasp of it. I know it's kind of like it's pre-tiki cocktails. So what cocktails were used to be like before the tiki movement?
It was, yes, kind of combining the tiki. Well, it's taking the tiki movement on, which was the first time you ever saw an umbrella, in a cocktail, and then making it a little bit more sophisticated. Because I had a hurricane the last time I was here, and I actually then went to have a hurricane in New Orleans. And yours I downed very easily, and it was delicious. And the one I had was so horrible. Not a Cane and Table, at a place that I won't mention. But man, have those. Thank goodness those are being redone.
Originally I think our hurricane would have actually resembled what the original hurricane would have been like, but through evolution and demand, they've created this powdered premix, which they then mix.
Oh gosh, it's so horrible.
It's a sweet and sour mix.
It's very rare that I can't drink a drink, and that I couldn't do it.
No,
it was horrible.
And there's a lot of it as well.
Yes, it's Bourbon Street, but we love Bourbon Street, but we hate Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
And tell me about yourself. How do you find yourself here?
So I've been bartending in London for about 6 years now. No, I've been bouncing around jobs, and I actually kind of left to be.
Well, where are you from originally?
Originally, I'm from Dorset, on the south coast of England, and I was in the country,
yeah.
And from the coast, so right on the beach. There's a little seaside resort there, and I was working at a bar there, and we had a cocktail bar, which is not far from what you kind of get to London today. Really cheesy cocktails, horrible, really and overly sweet, but they sell in those seaside resorts. And I came to London, I went to a bar show, and I seen what the cocktail industry actually is, and I kind of fell in love with it. So I kind of made a point that I need to be in London to do this, and I saw how you could take your career, and it wasn't just being a bartender. It's actually this whole larger scope where you have almost like bar celebrities and things going on.
It's incredible. I think that the bar culture has overtaken now the food.
Yeah.
I think people are a little tired of the celebrity chefs, and now they're moving on to the celebrity cocktail.
Yeah.
You would think, how forward we love the movie Cocktail was, so long ago. It's kind of, even it doesn't have all the flash, but definitely the depth.
It does. And I was bouncing around from jobs as well, and so I actually got me on board at Nola. I actually did a guest shift here, and the guys approached me and said, "How would you like to come on full time as the bar manager?" And I kind of mulled for a bit because I was training bartenders at the time, and it was great fun. But I kind of missed their whole interaction with the guests and talking to customers, because that's kind of where you get the joy of the job. Essentially, is actually great joy for other people and making them happy and having a great night. So I thought, why not? So I jumped back on board, got back behind the bar again, and here I am today. So running the bar, and although I'm general manager, I'm a working bartender as well. So I'm always on the bar.
How often are you here?
Most nights, probably an average 4 nights a week.
4 nights a week.
Yeah.
And where do you see, this? How often do you change your menus? What do you see the future of Nola being?
So currently we only change our menu once a year. We have an extensive list. It's quite large, so we like to keep it for as long as possible. We work for all the seasons. The way I'd like to see Nola in the future would be downscaling it almost, and we'll work seasonally with it, and we can get a bit more creative, so we can get our bartenders being more creative. Because obviously they do work on drinks, they enter cocktail competitions, and they're constantly doing that. But to have that menu for that long it gets probably stale for them in a way. But we're quite lucky. We have events, and they always create menus, drinks for that. So I'd like to see a bit more diversity in the menu in the coming future. But it's kind of hard when you get like all these brands coming involved, and they have to have listing. We have things called listing fees, where the brand pays for a spirit to be put into a cocktail list, so it kind of makes it easier to do it for a year, because the contract is for a year. So this is why you don't change. So otherwise you have to adapt the menu to fall in line with your listing fees, and then it's kind of almost taking creativity away, because you have to use this spirit. Whereas you just get a bartender and go, I want to use this spirit. I want to get on and do this and make something with this, because I have this amazing idea where these flavors will work together.
what is the most popular drink that is sold?
In here, Nola. We're definitely known for our bourbon. The Sazerac is probably one of our top sellers because everyone knows we won this award. We awarded the seal, the Sazerac. And then that is hurricanes. Everyone loves a good hurricane. It's like a guilty pleasure, I think. People kind of want that nice, fruity, long, refreshing drink. A lot of bartenders come in doing that.
I always forget about bourbon, and I love it. It's a great drink, and I'm so glad it's popping up more and more in cocktails in London because I'm falling in love with the old fashioned. Really,
I think I've seen over the 5 years I've been in London the turning point where people were drinking vodka then to gin. I think bourbon, whiskey, especially as a category, is definitely gaining popularity. It's definitely our biggest seller. The other interesting thing that's happening with bourbon is that the demand is ever growing. The supply is quite short, and we find it quite hard to get anything good over here in the UK. And I know even in the States there are some bourbons that are ever so popular that they even can't find them in Kentucky anymore because people worldwide are buying them up. Yeah.
How about yours? What is yours?
It'd be anything brown. Rye whiskey is probably my favourite typical because we like the spiciness, and I think you'll find that with a lot of bartenders. It's either bourbon or rye whiskey.
I'll have to try more rye whiskey.
Yeah, it's not it's a spicier style compared to this. So we have bourbon being a corn base. It's a more sweeter style where rye whiskey might have some corn in it. It has a higher rye content, so it's really spicy and kind of in your face, punchy flavors.
Well, thank you so much. This has been great. I really appreciate it, and we will see you around.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks.
It was great to have Ian on the show with me today. If you savor that Sazerac, make sure you reserve a seat at Nola, as it's one of the busiest bars in Shoreditch. Next week, we fly you to sunny Seychelles to meet Flavienne Joubert, the author of the island's only recipe book dedicated to its homegrown cocktails. Until next time, bottoms up. For more information and links to everything you've heard about, plus a bit more, please visit bestbitsworldwide.com. Thanks for listening to Best Sips Worldwide, a spin-off of Best Bits Worldwide. Always remember the wise words of Oscar Wilde: all things in moderation, including moderation, and never drink and drive. Okay, I said that last part. Theme music is by Steven Shapiro and used with permission. You'll find me at the bar